right, you guys ready? All right, a little before 10 o'clock this morning, Buffalo police officers in Charlie District, Ferry Fillmore District, responded to a call of a male with a gun. Officers responded on scene, encountered an individual, a male, in the street on the 100 block of Reed Street, who was holding a long gun, which turned out to be a 12-gauge shotgun. Officers exited their patrol cars, took cover behind their patrol car doors, and as I stated, they were a bit of a distance. They stopped short before they got to the individual. Within, I would say, less than 30 seconds upon their arrival, they had given numerous commands for the individual to put the gun down. Within about that 30-second time frame, this individual discharged one round from his 12-gauge shotgun. Two of the officers of several officers that were on scene returned fire. He was struck multiple times. The officers then did a tactical approach on the individual because he still had the shotgun, at which point then they were able to get to him and immediately began rendering aid, called for fire, called for an ambulance. The officers on scene were rendering aid until the Buffalo Fire Department arrived. They took over aid. Through numerous efforts and a lot of attempts at aid, unfortunately he was pronounced deceased on scene. In the investigation, the detectives traced back the call, the phone number of the individual that called 911, and at this point it appears that the phone number that was used to call 911 belongs to that individual, so we are investigating that he was in fact the individual that called. The information that came in from the 911 call called about somebody else that had a gun. So the call that our detectives received was that there is a male in the street with a gun, gave a full description, clothing, and that further information, and that's when officers arrived on scene. That's what they found when they got on scene. As I said, there were two officers that discharged their weapons. Those officers now are on administrative leave as per our normal protocol. And with that, I'll take any questions at this point.
How many shots were fired at the suspect?
So it's still very early in the investigation, so we're going through that. Our evidence team has the weapons that were used. They'll collect shell casings. We're still going over body camera videos. There were numerous officers that were on scene, so I don't have an answer for that right now.
Why did the gentleman call 911?
We're going to look into all of that. Again, that phone number traces back to him, so we are looking into that.
When you say he discharged a shot, was that directly at officers, upward?
So I watched a body camera video, and I can't tell from the distance from where the officers were. There was a definite shot was fired. We recovered the shotgun. We recovered a spent shell casing from that 12-gauge shotgun. But what direction it was fired in, that I don't know.
Was there any other shells in the shotgun or just the one?
At this point, I don't know. I just know that there was the one shot that was fired. We can hear that very clearly. We can see that on the body camera video. And again, we recovered one spent shell casing. We have not, I don't personally know if there were any other rounds inside that gun.
We heard from people that he might have been defending himself against someone not police related, another party. Is there any clarification as to whether there was another party there?
There was nobody else on scene. We're still very early in this, so we're looking at all possibilities, but there was nobody else that we have located that was on scene, nobody that was outside. You can see on the body camera the street was clear. He was in the middle of the street.
Have you had any other contact with this individual or at that house for other issues recently?
I'm not going to get into that at this point. Again, I'm, in an effort to be as transparent as possible, I wanted to have this press conference very early, but it is very early, so we're not prepared to release the identity, any information at this time, so I don't want to get into that. It's part of the investigation. We will release more information in the days to come, both on the individual as well as the officers, and and my condolences do go out to the family of this individual. So this is a terrible situation. It's very unfortunate that it ended like this. It's terrible for the family, terrible for the officers that had to respond to that, and unfortunately we're put in that position where they had to discharge their weapons. That's something that they're going to live with, and it's going to be with them.
Is the investigation just focused on the area outside where that individual was, or also that person's property and house?
We look at everything. So that's part of the crime scene. That's part of the the crime scene area. We take a much wider look at all of these cases.
How do you determine who actually made the call, if the call originated in his house, if it was him or somebody else?
So I didn't say that it originated from within his house. We have a phone, we have a cell phone. So we will get into that cell phone, but information that we've already uncovered, our homicide detectives have already uncovered, links that phone number to the individual. So,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, but that is all a part of the continuing investigation.
The community outside by the scene, they're, obviously very concerned about what happened. Do you have any words to share for them at this point?
What I want to share with them is, and that's why I'm doing this press conference so early in this investigation, is that I want them to know what we know at this point to the best that we can share, as much information as we can share. I will release body camera video. We will start working on that next week. So it's, takes a little bit of time to get that prepared, and there's more investigating that has to be done. But it will not be too long before we get that camera out, body camera video out. I'm not going to give you a definitive time frame, but the goal is, typically within a week, I want to get that out. So just, trust that we are doing a full and complete investigation. As part of the Attorney General's executive order, the Attorney General's office is on site. They have been on site from very early on. They were down in our homicide office working with our homicide detectives. What we have, they have. So that's part of the Attorney General's executive order, that they investigate all fatal police encounters, and they are fully involved. The District Attorney's office was obviously also contacted immediately.
Any other security camera video that you're interested in?
We're interested in everything. If anybody out there has any video, I mean, that's part of our normal crime scene investigation. We canvass further out. We look to see what we can find. If anybody that's in that vicinity of the 100 block of Reed Street, if they can check any video, even before 10 o'clock, go back to 9:30, 9 o'clock. Don't know how long this individual may have been out. Did he go outside? Did he come back in? So if they can take a look at their video, if they find anything, please contact our homicide office.
When do you think you'll be releasing the name? Because family members have kind of released the name, and he has a lot of relatives, so.
Yeah, it's, family obviously is, that's up to them. We're with family out on the scene. We typically wait at least a day before we release names in any, homicide case, any death case, anything of this nature. We typically wait at least 24 hours. There's family, there's extended family, but, for our side, we typically wait at least a day. So we anticipate some point tomorrow we'll be releasing the name. Anything else?
During the 9/11 call, just one more time, did the caller state that he might shoot?
So that's all part of, the investigation, that the individual that called had stated that, there was an individual in the street that did have a gun, gave a very full description, and stated that anybody pulls on scene, he may shoot. So again, that's part of the investigation of the phone call, the phone number, who it traced back to. We did recover a cell phone, so that's everything that we're looking into. So again, this is all very preliminary, but it's something that we wanted to get out as soon as possible, and we are continuing to work on this.
That description that he gave the person in the street, did it match his own description or somebody else?
Well, the description that was given matched the individual that our officers encountered on the street. Again, we're still working to attach that number. We have the phone. We're going to look into the phone and verify that number, that we already have that number, and it matches records going back to that individual, but that's part of the investigation.
We good?
Anything else?
All right.
Okay, thank you.